Like the 5 minute chart is already like pretty stressful. I mean, if you compare the 5 to the 30 minute chart, the 5 minute chart is just crazy. So the 1 minute chart, like it's just there's a move every single second you can enter into, and it's just too chaotic. So I feel like reducing the amount of entries that you see on a daily basis can actually kind of help you increase the amount of high quality entries you can see.
Yeah.
And that really helped my win rate over time, and then also helped my risk to reward ratio too, because moves on the higher time frames generally hold more weight than they do on the lower time frames, especially if there is a break of structure.
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of Trader Pool. Today Kael is with me, a new funded trader with 25K of the Flex account. Thanks for coming, Kael.
Thank you, Mike. It's good to be here.
Alrighty, let's dive in, Kael. We just talked about it. You've been with us almost for the last 2 years, right?
Yes.
Tell us about it. How was it?
So yeah, it was pretty interesting. Before I found Trade the Pool, I was already profitable on my live account for about 3 months. I was under PDT, so I was very, very selective with my trades. And when I got into Trade the Pool, I said, okay, wow, there's no more PDT rule. I have all this freedom. Let's go. I'm gonna like double my money, right? I had like this excited mindset. But then I realized, okay, without the PDT rule, this is a whole different ballgame. And then also having to follow the prop firm rules, it just requires like a whole new mindset and a whole new way of looking at things. Yeah. And it took me a while to figure out what I was doing right in my live account, and then to apply that to the Trade the Pool account. Basically, with a live account, because I was on a PDT, I was being very patient with my entry, waiting for the market to actually confirm a change in structure instead of trying to predict the change in structure. When I got into Trade the Pool at first, I was really just trying to catch the top on a short or catch the bottom on a long, and that really hurt my win rate. But after I made that adjustment again and realized, okay, how about instead of trying to short the actual top of the stock, let's wait for it to drop first and then see if it's going to continue that drop or if it's going to keep on going higher. And so that's really been the biggest thing for me, is learning to flow with the market and observe the market and wait for confirmation of a continuation on a reversal or a move instead of trying to predict when exactly it's going to happen.
Got it. Yeah, for sure. Super interesting, the psychology of trading your own capital and adjusting yourself once you start with a prop firm, adjusting your strategy, your rules, your risk according to the rules of the platform. So super interesting. How long you been trading for?
I started trading when I was 18 years old. I would work DoorDash. I'd put some money towards gas and eating out, fun stuff. And then I'd put another day's work into the stock market. I originally was just thinking about investing, right? I would put some money in Ford, but then because I was 18 years old, I said, hey, I have $1,000. Let me put in this penny stock. And then when I made $300 in 10 minutes, I was like, okay, my life has changed. I'm not going back. I have to learn how to do this now.
For sure. Yeah. So it's been how many years?
Well, I'm 21 right now, so it's
3 years.
Like 3 years, yeah.
Okay, very interesting. And you got yourself to the point when you're profitable on your...
And that really hurt my win rate. But after I made that adjustment again and realized, okay, how about instead of trying to short the actual top of the stock, let's wait for it to drop first and then see if it's going to continue that drop or if it's going to keep on going higher. And so that's really been the biggest thing for me, is learning to flow with the market and observe the market and wait for confirmation of a continuation on a reversal or a move instead of trying to predict when exactly it's going to happen.
Got it. Yeah, for sure. Super interesting, the psychology of trading your own capital and adjusting yourself once you start with a prop firm, adjusting your strategy, your rules, your risk according to the rules of the platform. So super interesting. How long you been trading for?
I started trading when I was 18 years old. I would work DoorDash. I'd put some money towards gas and eating out, fun stuff. And then I'd put another day's work into the stock market. I originally was just thinking about investing, right? I would put some money in Ford, but then because I was 18 years old, I said, hey, I have $1,000. Let me put in this penny stock. And then when I made $300 in 10 minutes, I was like, okay, my life has changed. I'm not going back. I have to learn how to do this now.
For sure. Yeah. So it's been how many years?
Well, I'm
Good for you?
21 right now,
20
so
years.
it's
So
it's
three
been about
years.
like 3 years. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. And you got yourself to the point when you're profitable on your capital, on your own capital. So that's also amazing to reach, amazing goal to set and reach. Let's talk a little bit about your trading. What is it that you like to trade and how?
So I like to trade low float stocks, at most a 30 million float, but sometimes ideally lower than that. I like to see volume of at least 5 million, and also the daily volume being 3 times the average daily volume. And I basically look for stocks that, well, it depends on the market. If I feel like traders are mostly fearful, then I will look for a stock that runs up on either fluff news or no news at all, and I'll wait for a change of structure to enter short. Or if I'm long, I'll look for a stock that meets those parameters but has very bullish news, like positive financial results or a new merger and acquisition. And I will wait for like a morning sell off or just a dip buy on an already running up stock. Yeah.
So it's all starts with the news, right? You
Yes.
focusing on the fundamental, understand if it's real or not, the hype is real or not, and then
Yes.
nice. And on the technical level, once you have the right asset to trade on, what do you look for?
I look for a confirmation of change of structure. So, like I said a little bit before, if I'm trying to short a stock, instead of trying to find weakness at the top and enter the top, I'll wait for the initial drop, and then I'll wait for liquidity to come in, buyers to come in, and like a long shadow under a candle to indicate, okay, now we're entering a sort of consolidation phase, and I'll wait to see, okay, is this consolidation phase going to lead to another rise? In which case, I'll wait
Yeah.
for more confirmation of a drop. But if that consolidation leads to a lower change in price, then I can confidently say, okay, well, it looks like the hype has officially died down now that I have this confirmation. So for me, it's safer to enter the stock short than it is to try and enter it at a weaker top, because you never know with that.
And do you usually look for to scale into a position, or you go all in at once? How do you handle the risk side of it?
Yeah, so I enter all in at once. I have a calculator actually on Google Sheets that has a few equations on it where I basically enter my entry point, I enter my stop, and then I enter my take profit level. The calculator then tells me what my risk to reward ratio is. I look for at least a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, but honestly, I like 4-to-1 the best. And if I see that the calculator tells me it's above a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, then I say, okay, this is a green stock to enter. And then
Yeah.
the calculator also tells me how many shares to enter with, so that I only risk exactly right now with a 25K account, I am risking $50 per trade. So it tells me how many shares to enter with if I only want to risk that much. So I do just do a one shot, one kill approach, but with very precise figures because of the math that I'm using.
Yeah, and this is something I will share my screen in a second and show the guys at home your dashboard. Something that very interesting. So one of the guys that I interviewed yesterday, he talked about, and he's trading 50K account, right? But he talks about the max loss. So he's basically looking at the max loss as his indicator for the risk and not the buying power which he can use, right? But
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's just measuring and understanding how much capital can I lose and not how much capital I have in order to trade with.
Yes, I completely agree. That's why I chose 50, because it is 5% of the 1,000 max loss in the 25K account. 5% is still a bit aggressive, in my opinion. As I get more capital, I think I'd be more comfortable trading around like 1 to 3%. But I think for right now, like psychologically, I can handle a 5% risk on the $1,000 max loss. Yeah.
Now, Kael, let's talk a little bit about your previous evaluations, right? You had a few of those before until
A
passing
few,
the
yes,
evaluation. Yeah.
quite a few.
What changed? Because you've been funded before, right?
Yes.
So what changed? Tell me a little bit about the process for those of the guys that listen in and it's the first attempt that they tried.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest game changer for me was deciding to enter after confirmation of a move instead of trying to predict the move, but then also getting off of the 1 minute chart. That thing just has too much noise. It's too like the 5 minute chart is already like pretty stressful. I mean, the third, like, if you compare the 5 to the 30 minute chart, the 5 minute chart is just crazy. So the 1 minute chart, like, it's just there's a move every single second you can enter into, and it's just too chaotic. So I feel like reducing the amount of entries that you see on a daily basis can
Hmm.
actually kind of help you increase the amount of high quality entries you can see.
Yeah.
And that really helped my win rate over time, and then also helped my risk to reward ratio too, because moves on the higher time frames generally hold more weight than they do on the lower time frames, especially if there is a break of structure. Yes.
Yeah, very nice, very smart move to do. Going into higher time frames will definitely reduce the noise, and that way you're not gonna execute a trade for every push that the market go, up or down. Nice one. Let me share my screen. So, for those of you not familiar, every trader gets his own dashboard. The dashboard will show you your stats, the risk parameters, and you can really understand your progress and look at your equity curve. You can also check your achievements and payouts and customize your view, switch between light mode and dark mode. This is the 25K you're trading with, 1500 for the target, which is only 6%. How hard it was to reach the target?
When I first started with Trade the Pool, it was like I thought it was almost impossible. I was like, this is crazy. But then after you get the strategy down, you don't even think about the target. That like for me, trading is 80% psychology and 20% strategy execution. You just need to go in every day, not thinking, okay, I need to win, I need to hit this target. You need to go in every day and say, hey, you know what? My only goal today is to execute my strategy and be open to whatever the result is, and then just doing the same thing tomorrow and the day after that. And if you just focus on strategy execution, sooner or later you'll get there.
Nice. All righty, we got the balance curve here. Pretty solid one, and not a lot of pumps or dumps actually, but pretty solid. A little bit of pullbacks, but very nicely done. 3.5 on the risk reward is quite high. Tell me a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, my calculator has helped me become more precise with risk to reward ratios. My minimum is 1 to 3, but like I said, I love going for those 1 to 4s or 1 to 5s. I mean, 4 to 1s, 5 to 1s. And when I actually wait for confirmation, they do give me better entries. They help me become more precise and put a lower stop, because if there's a drop, for example, on a short, and it rises a little bit and then it continues to fall, I can just put the stop on that failed rise instead of putting it at the all-time high on the daily stock chart.
Yeah, and like you said, you trade in mostly small caps. So, but I do like the fact that you're doing also long side and short, not just one side.
Yeah, I really wish I could show more buys, but just because of the market conditions, I just have to accept what the market gives me.
Yeah, exactly, and this is important because a lot of the guys that looking only to short those penny stocks, from time to time, when the market won't allow those shorting opportunities, at least they get stuck, right? Instead of looking for the upside as well, for the pump.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Very nice stats overall, and I do like the fact that you mentioned that your minimum is 1 to 3 anyway. So for those of you watching and maybe struggling with the risk reward, try to just set the limit, set the goal to 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, and that way it will start pushing it higher, right? Very nicely done. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Any tips or tricks for the guys that watching, maybe on the first attempt or just starting?
Yeah, I definitely have one. In trading, as you grow, as you learn, you're gonna have things in the back of your head that you have to understand, that you have to learn, but subconsciously you're gonna be too intimidated to do it. Like when I first got into trading, before I found the prop firm, it was a very bearish market. This was back in 2022, I think. Do you remember the market back then, Michael? And I was too afraid to learn how to short. I was like, this is too intimidating. What do you mean short locates? What do you mean like infinite risk compared to just going long, where you only risk all the capital that you have on the trade? And so my advice is like, hey, if you know that there's something you need to learn, don't be afraid of it. Be aware of it. Just tackle it straight on. And the more you focus on consciously growing, the faster you'll get there.
I love it. It reminds me when I started to trade, I traded obviously stocks at the beginning, but it took me, I don't know, like 7-8 years to get into futures as well, right? And I always continued to push it and didn't want to get in because I was too afraid. Maybe I wouldn't understand it. Maybe I won't succeed in it. And once I did, I saw that it's fairly similar and easy as trading stocks. So it wasn't that scary eventually. Yeah, so I definitely agree with what you're saying. Amazing. Thanks for all the knowledge and experience that you just shared. And for those of you who want to check us out, go to tradethepool.com. Hopefully you will be the next funded trader. Thanks so much, Kael. Appreciate it.
Michael, I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Take care.